Hello guys, it's Recommend. Shout out to everybody out there. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like, leave a comment, and big shout out to Comics Story. And for this video, man, the link will be in the description. Definitely go check them out. Go like, go subscribe to their channel. Great channel when it comes to like comic books, video games, sometime movie, I guess. So today we're gonna check out the story for Final Fantasy 14, Realm Reborn, the complete story, man. So definitely check out my playlist for Final Fantasy for all the latest Final Fantasy content. And we're gonna find out more about Final Fantasy's 14, man. We're gonna learn about the story, I guess, man. So it should be very interesting. So with that, here we go.
Here at Comic Story, the Complete Story series actually started with me covering video games on a different channel. It eventually evolved into what it is today, me acting out various characters and dramatically giving you the plot lines and storylines to comic books and sometimes catching you up on movies and video games. As a part of allowing me to be a bit more creative here at Comic Story and just kind of push out into other passions that I have, I wanted to go back to the roots of everything and explain some of my favorite video game storylines to you guys. Don't worry, this won't get in the way of your favorite comic books. This is going to be an addition to my comic book coverage. Now, Final Fantasy has always meant something very dear to me, as it is a way that I communicated with my grandmother early on, and it is how I met my wife in the original game Final Fantasy XI. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV since it came out pretty consistently, and I know for a lot of new players who are joining the game, you are presented with the option of basically experiencing the entire story, or story skipping to catch up to your friends, and sometimes when you story skip, you don't really know what happened. So, the first of the video game projects that I want to bring you is me covering the entire storyline of Final Fantasy XIV, catching you up to its latest expansion that is coming out in July. Today we're going to cover A Realm Reborn's storyline at its bare bones to give you the knowledge you need to jump into the follow-on storylines. It's been 5 years since the destruction caused by the Calamity and the Battle of Cartenu, ending the 6th Astral Age. Now the world is in the 7th Umbral Era. The destined Warrior of Light has arrived, choosing one of the 3 major city-states, Gridania, Ul'dah, or Limsa Lominsa, to call their home. With the world broken around them, the Warrior of Light sets out to rebuild the shattered realm. The warrior's adventures do not go unnoticed, and they quickly gain notoriety amongst the various guilds throughout the realm. While performing various deeds, the Warrior of Light also realizes that they have a strange power, an ability known as Echo that allows them to see past events. With this ability, they see the final battle of Bahamut during the Calamity, and they hear a strange voice calling out to them. Throughout their quest, the Warrior of Light must meet members of the Scion of the Seventh Dawn, a secret organization that was formed amongst the Circle of Knowing and the Path of the 12 during the 7th Umbral Era. The warrior has gained the interest of the Scions and travels to a place known as the Waking Sands to meet their leader, Minfilia. From Minfilia, the warrior learns that they are the champion of Hydaelyn, the Mother Crystal. Minfilia also explains that the Scions are trying to protect Eorzea from the Primals, ancient magical beings that are worshipped as gods by the beast races. Now a member of the Scions, the Warrior of Light begins to work alongside Thancred, one of their agents, to investigate the disappearances in the region of Thanalan. The abductions are being carried out by members of the Amalj'aa, beasts who planned on sacrificing the warriors so that the primal god Ifrit would be brought into the world. Luckily, armed with the Echo ability, the warrior was able to defeat Ifrit, saving many lives and drawing the eyes of various city-states' Grand Company forces. Now hailed as a hero, the warrior is invited to the ceremony given in remembrance of the fallen heroes from the final battle of the Calamity. After joining the Grand Company forces, the hero sees an airship shot down over the state's airspace. Quickly, the warrior rushes to the aid of the downed vessel, and he meets Biggs and Wedge, who explain that they are the former employees of Sid Non-Garland, an engineer who has been missing since the Calamity. Once again, the warrior returns to Minfilia, who sends them out to mend relations with the tribe of the Sylph. A radical group of the Sylph are attempting to bring forth the primal Ramuh, putting a strain on the city-state of Gridania. While initially, the Sylph are distrustful of the Warrior of Light, they aid them in fending off the Garlean Empire forces, with a new trust forged between them. The Sylphs ask the warrior to find their lost elder. It is during this search that the Warrior of Light encounters Lahabrea, an Ascian who watched over Bahamut's final destruction during the Calamity. The hero is able to overcome Lahabrea and free the Sylph elder, who informs them that Ramuh has actually been summoned by an extremist group of Sylph to protect the Sylph lands. Luckily, the Sylph have no desire to re-summon Ramuh, and so peace can last between the Sylph lands and Gridania. With the threat of the Titans currently at bay, the Scions begin their investigation into the mysterious La Habrea. The investigation leads the warrior around the regions, following rumors of children turning violent at the sight of a masked stranger, and maidens being sacrificed at his commands. Menphilia and the Scions send word to the city-states that they must prepare themselves for a potential attack from La Habrea. But these warnings are quickly put on hold when word of another primal summoning makes its way to the Scions. It seems that the Kobold tribes are angered by the Limnimsians expanding into their territories. The Kobolds have summoned the Primal Titan to lead an attack against the city of Limsa. The Scions dispatch the Warrior of Light and the others to defeat the Primal. Working alongside the Scion agent Ishtola, the warrior is able to defend Limsa and banish Titan to the Ether. Upon their victory, the warrior returns to the Scion base at the Waking Sands. However, when they arrive, they discover that the base is littered with the bodies of the fallen Scion agents. Amongst the dying, the adventurer discovers Norexia, a Sylphian diplomat who has been invited to the Waking Sands as a guest. In her final moments, Norexia tells of Menphilia's final orders for the Warrior of Light to take refuge at the Church of Saint Landadama. With their former allies all dead, the Warrior of Light has no choice but to follow Menphilia's final orders. Once there, the warrior meets a strange man named Marquise, who claims to be a veteran of the final battle against Bahamut. During the funeral rites for their fallen comrades, the adventurer once again meets Alpha Node, who has reports that the Ixal have summoned their primal god, Garuda. With this knowledge, he believes that they should resurrect the Scions, since the city-states do not have the resources or the manpower to deal with the threat of the Beastmen tribes and the summoning of the Primals. Marquez's identity is then finally revealed, and he is Sid, the Lost Engineer. Alpha Node believes that they can battle against Garuda in her own domain, but they will need the aid of Sid and his lost airship, the Enterprise. The three, working together, begin to trace the last known whereabouts of that lost airship. But the search brings them to a place known as Stone Vigil, where they discover that the ship is guarded by an ancient dragon named Ishkabite, who has been summoned by La Habrea. After a terrible battle, the warrior manages to defeat the dragon, and Sid immediately starts to repair his lost vessel. With the repairs complete, the party sets off to battle Garuda, yet the Primal seems too powerful, as she draws strength from the Beastmen who are devoted to her. When it all seems lost, she is struck down by a mighty and surprise blow from Gaius, the general of the Garlean army. The general taunts her, and in her rage, Garuda begins to lash out all around her. The Primal strikes out against the prisoners of war from the other Beastmen tribes, forcing the Kobolds and Emelja to summon Ifrit and Titan to defend themselves. The three Primals begin to battle against one another, causing vast destruction. While the fight rages, Gaius summons the ancient Allegan armor known as the Ultima Weapon that captures the three Primals, devouring them to increase his own power. The heroes, with a lack of knowledge as to even what is happening, are forced to retreat, returning once again to the Waking Sands where they discover some of the Scions survived. They learned that Menphilia and the others are being held at the Garlean Costrum Centri. With the help of Biggs and Wedge, Sid is able to produce a smaller armor that would assist in the assault of the Costrum. Everyone begins their preparations. The heroes begin their mission, sneaking into the costume with the aid of stolen uniforms and Magitech armor. The mission seems to be successful until they learn that Thancred was possessed by La Habrea and was used to manipulate the Beastmen tribes into summoning their primals, thus weakening the city-states. Gaius appears, offering the warrior an ultimatum. Either Eorzea will surrender to the Empire, or they will be annihilated by the Ultima Weapon. Fearing the loss of life that the deviants would bring, the leaders of the city-states begin talks of a surrender. However, the arrival of Alpha Node, Menphilia, and Sid convinces the leaders to withdraw their surrender and instead declare open war against the Empire. Working alongside each other, the Grand Companies, the Free Companies, the various Beastmen tribes begin the plan of Operation Archon, the final counter-offensive to attack every Costrum Centri at the same time and defeat the Empire, releasing their control on the world once and for all. Leading the charge into the Praetorium, the place where the Ultima Weapon is being held, is Sid and the Warrior of Light, but the party is stopped by Livia Saulus Junius, a tribunus, Augusti Clavius, in the Garlean Empire. While powerful, she is quickly defeated, and the warriors push on, stealing a suit of Magitech Reaper armor, pushing deeper into the Praetorium lower levels. There, the heroes meet Nero, another of the high-ranking Garlean individuals who believes that he should kill the Warrior of Light. And if he does, he will be able to infuse the Echo ability into the Ultima weapon. Yet once again, the Warrior of Light is victorious. Nero manages to escape at the last moment, though. Now the warrior only has to go through General Gaius to defeat the Garlean Empire and push them back, kick them out of these city-states. After he is bested in single combat, Gaius boards the weapon, using its surge of primal energy to destroy the hero. But that's when Hydaelyn grants her protection to our heroes, shielding them from annihilation in the form of Gaius' attack. And from nowhere, La Habrea appears, unleashing his devastating power by using the Ultima spell to destroy the Praetorium, Gaius, and the Ultima weapon at last. Standing amongst the destruction, La Habrea declares that he will use the devastation to unleash the one true God.
Damn.
The final battle is fierce, yet in the end, the Warrior of Light and their party are able to defeat La Habrea. After the victory, the Alliance meet in the Costrum. With the Empire defeated and the threat of La Habrea ended, they declare the coming of the 7th Astral Era, ending the horror of the Calamity in the 7th Umbral Era. However, their celebration is cut short, as the bellowing of a summoned primal god can be heard in the distance. Despite the Alliance and their victory, everyone knows that they have yet to enter an age of peace. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage of the original A Realm Reborn storyline. Now, just so you guys know, there is a storyline that happened before this, known as 1.0. The game was shut down and then relaunched at 2.0, and that's the one that everyone can play right now. Now, some of you may be wondering, hey Benny, this channel is called Comic Story and you're known for comic books, but that's not how it started. It actually started with me covering video game plot lines, like I said, and video game plot lines that were related to comic books. We covered some really bad ones, but luckily in the recent years, companies like Titan Comics have come out and started bringing us really good video game related comic books. Now that we've crossed 2 million subs at the beginning of the year, I wanted to be able to open up a bit more of my creativity and bring some more of those video game plot lines of the video games that I truly hold dear to you guys. Because some of you are like me. You want to join Final Fantasy XIV and all of your friends are at the camp, but you don't really have time to go through all 120 hours. Or maybe you want to go play the latest God of War, but you're really curious about the last 8 games in the franchise. Or you want to jump into Assassin's Creed, but you're wondering how those 10 other titles are linked into it. I feel that we can use the complete story series.
So guys, so that's the video, man. Big shout out to Comic Storian for that video, man. The link will be in the description, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so that was the Final Fantasy story, Final Fantasy 14 story. It's an MMO, man, so there's a lot of story added to it, man. This video was a few years ago, so the story probably have changed since or expanded a lot since then, man. So yeah, man, so hope you guys enjoyed that video. Subscribe to the channel. Big shout out to Comic Storian for that video, man. The link will be in the description. Definitely go check them out. And leave a like, leave a comment. And with that, you boys out of here, man. Peace.